Bowser's Fortified Fortress on Bowser's Galaxy Generator. This is the last level of the main first half of the game, I guess you can say. There's still Galaxy S that's coming up, and this is like the main boss of the game. So you're going to end up having to play this level a second time, or maybe even more than that, really. After you end up getting all 120 or 24 stars, like every available star, you have to beat this level a second time to unlock the green star challenges. So get used to playing this level. Anyway, take out these 3 hammer bros to open up the little daffodil or dandelion to move on, fly right past the lava. So something I've been thinking about, kind of creating a comparison between in my mind recently, is the motion gimmick and the 3D gimmick, and how they're both being used to sell products and games and everything like that, every sort of media recently. So the way in particular for games, I think of motion as a gimmick that made the Wii huge, but hasn't really revolutionized games the way that people thought it might when it started to sell so well. Like, this game, yeah, it uses motion, but it's not like a main part of the game. People don't play this game or any other what I would consider good games on the Wii because of motion. I mean, you barely use motion at all in this. You use the pointer in this game more than you use motion. And the pointer, I think, is a more tactile thing. I don't know if that's using the right word, but it's more accurate, it's more precise, and it's more fun to use. Other than motion, which is just waggle. And now, of course, Sony and Microsoft are coming out with their own motion things. They're coming out with the Move for Sony and Kinect for Microsoft, which used to be called Natal, Project Natal. And Natal reminds me a lot of the Wii in that it's 100% a gimmick. Like, it's not going to be accurate. It's not going to be fun to use. The menu navigation seemed interesting, but I don't think they're going to... I mean, remote controls have been around forever, and the reason that the Nintendo Wii controller looks the way it does is because everybody knows how to use a remote control. So Microsoft's trying to make you think that it's going to be fun to wave your hands around multiple times to get the menu to move one time to the left, and I just can't see it working accurately. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, I don't know. The Sony thing seems quite a bit more precise, which is more up my alley, which has got my interest a little bit more. It doesn't seem like they have any worthwhile games for either platform yet. There's some sort of dungeon crawler game that's coming out for the Sony Move when that platform releases, and it looks very kind of beginner level stuff. And you know, if you have a PlayStation, you're probably a pretty avid gamer. So I don't know if that's really gonna take off. But back to my original point, motion is a gimmick that got people interested for a little bit, and now there's a lot of followers to the Nintendo way of doing things with the motion, and with Sony and Microsoft. And I think the general consensus among gamers is that, yeah, it's a total gimmick. Like, nobody really cares. This isn't... Move and Natal aren't going to revolutionize things. They're not going to make games better. They're just going to do games and add to the increased cost of development. And that's almost my same feeling about 3D. The games aren't... I mean, 3D movies, they're still going to have to make movies that are not in 3D, because like Toy Story and all the Pixar movies, they're presented well in 3D and not 3D. And the movies that really take advantage of 3D, they feel incredibly gimmicky. Like, they're just, they're throwing axes at the screen, like My Bloody Valentine or any of those stupid movies. I'm surprised. The Wayans brothers, oh my god, I can't believe I'm thinking of this now. So the Wayans brothers come out with all those stupid like date movies, epic movies, and all that. They're gonna come out with 3D movie, and it's just gonna be terrible 3D effects constantly. Man, I should work in Hollywood. Anyway, and just like all the 3D movies that just exploit 3D feel to me like bad Wayans brothers movies. Whereas, and I just have that's how most motion heavy games feel to me too. They're using motion for the sake of using motion and make you use motion, but they're not good games. If they did motion sparingly and it was a good game, or even if they used motion a lot and it was a good game, then okay. But most of the very motion heavy games aren't good games. I mean, I guess you can say Avatar was good, but I guarantee it's still good not in 3D. So I don't know why. I just don't see 3D taking off the way that HD has completely revolutionized video games. The HD factor in video games has added so much expense to creating games that it's completely changed the market. But it hasn't. And like, people buy HD TVs just to play video games. I don't think people are going to buy 3D TVs from Sony just to play video games. I think that people are realizing that it's a gimmick, and that, you know, if you only have 2 pairs of glasses that are, you know, $20 a pop, it's not going to be fun for anybody else to watch. And, you know, multiplayer games or multiple people on one TV are the most fun games for me, at least. And it just doesn't. It's hard to imagine 4 people sitting around a TV playing FIFA with glasses on for a long period of time, like playing 5 games in a row with those dumb glasses, especially if you wear glasses, which I do, which is frustrating. When I'm working on my computer or playing games, I'm wearing glasses because it just, you know, it's a strain on my eyes staring at what is essentially a light bulb. Like all the flat panel TVs, the LCDs, the LEDs, you're staring into a light bulb for a long time. So if you have bad eyes, which I would imagine most gamers do, then wearing 3D glasses is going to be a very big hassle. But you're going to hear, despite my thoughts of that 3D is just going to be another gimmick to sell junk, and that the quality of the product that uses 3D, it's not, it's going to be pushed, it's going to be advertised so much more heavily than the motion stuff, because there's so much more money to be made. Like Nintendo, or by Sony at least, I have a feeling that Sony is going to be pushing 3D extremely hard, because they're selling the console that does 3D, they're selling the TVs that do 3D. They have a lot of money to make. Microsoft and Nintendo, I don't think are going to be pushing 3D super hard, because that means that they're putting money into Sony's pockets when you go to Best Buy and buy a 3D TV. A lot of people still use tube televisions to play games and don't have their consoles connected to the internet. More and more people do. More and more people are using like Netflix streaming and stuff like that, but it's not an industry standard at this point, I don't think. HD, or the internet connectivity, at least in the US, but the reason I guess my next point is that the reason I don't like where this is going with 3D is that it's potentially taking away resources and development from good games. Like, there's so much garbage on the Wii right now that, with motion controls as the heavy implementation factor, that I see tons of garbage coming out for Natal or Kinect and Sony Move. And the same thing for 3D. It's just going to be garbage, garbage, garbage.